All right, guys. Hey, what's going on? My name is Chris Hawkes, and this is your best life defined. Let's get right on this thing. So here I am yesterday. I've mentioned that I work out a lot. I think I've told you that I'm trying to get back in shape because I want to get my Florida body on for when I hit the beach. I don't want to be that fat old man. I want to have a little muscle tone and look pretty good. So I get up every morning. I'm out here. I do my podcast. I work on my book, and then following this podcast, I'm going to jump on my bike and I'm going to ride like a bat out of hell. Now, I don't know if you're picking up on this, but I don't do anything half-assed. I do everything like 110%, which it wins a lot of times, but sometimes it's just craziness, just being different. But I take pride in being different. I take pride in being a little bit cooler and a little bit different than everybody else. They kind of look at me funny, but uniqueness is something that I enjoy. So here I am. I get on my mountain bike, and now I'm not a very tall guy. I'm 5'6", and kind of a little bull, really, if you think about it. I'm short and stocky, and but so I'm jump on this mountain bike and I'm grinding it out. Now we live on top of a hill, and there's a nice start out. It's a nice slope, but I don't ever sit down. I could actually take the seat off of my bike because I just don't feel comfortable sitting down. So here I am. I'm what I consider to be an old man. I'm out there on my mountain bike and I'm just busting, and I'm standing up and I'm just riding as hard as I can. And there's a point in that ride when I'm just thinking I'm sucking wind and I'm trying to control my breathing and keep my momentum going, and all I keep thinking is, oh, come on, please end, please end, please end. And it's my motivation is there. I'm motivated to be in good shape, partly because I'm going to Florida, but the other side of it is I'm motivated to be in shape because I cannot talk to you about living your best life if I'm not doing everything I can to live my best life. And one of the things I know is that the reason my dad was one of the reasons my dad died was because he was on a respirator and he was not strong enough to get off the respirator. And so part of my thing is I'm going to grind it out. I'm going to grind these workouts out. I'm going to grind it out and push as hard as I can, because no matter where I am in that workout, eventually it's going to come to an end. And I think that's not only the perspective that we need to take in the struggles we face, but it's also a solid perspective that we need to keep in mind when we're talking about our successes and our joys in life. See, I mentioned about being engaged, living in the moment, and being fully engaged in the people that you spend time with. Like right now, there is nothing else more important to me than this podcast and giving you a quality product and making sure that the message I give you has value. And if it doesn't quite have value, guess what? That same principle applies. It will end. And eventually there will be one that comes along behind it, and it'll be better than that. But I'm enjoying this, and I don't want it to end, just like I don't want the idea we're talking about, maybe in the next year or 2 years, purchasing a stick and brick again and start working towards that life without this big fifth wheel. Maybe we'll downsize. But there's a part of me that's actually concerned, because I'm like, oh no, what if we jump into that stick and brick and we've gotten so addicted to this and we enjoy it, this is an amazing adventure, that this ends. That's for some reason we don't jump back out there and do the stuff that we love to do, and we fall back into that trap, and it's scary. See, all things end. And when you look at living your best life, or at least when I do, I wake up every day with one plan in mind, and that is to try and capture the most of it, try and do my best job at living it, so when I lay my head down on that pillow at night, I'm comfortable. I'm okay with the life I'm living, and if today happens to be the last day of my life, I don't want it to be, but if today happens to be the last day of my life, I've done it. I've done the best job I can at this thing called living, because it will end. And I did a video, I don't know, somewhere way back. It was called The Swamp Thing. And it was directed specifically at someone I know who continues to, they talk about what they want to do, and they will ask advice, and they will be the attentive listener. And then the next thing you know, they are right back in that cycle of feeling sorry for themselves and making excuses for why their life is in the condition it's in. And worse than that, but why they can't change it. And when you make suggestions and they don't accept them, there's a point when I get tired of talking. Now, just so you know, it's not going to happen with the podcast because I got a lot of things to say. But it's going to end for you. If you're facing a struggle based on COVID-19, Give it a bit. It'll end. The struggle you face will end either because you will take action and you'll find that inner strength to go ahead and recreate your life, and not only that, to recreate a better life, or you'll give up. And eventually you'll run out of time like everyone else does, and this will be a past, and so will you. This is what I don't want. See, I believe that we should live our life like an MMA fight, where you go in the first round and you're going like a bat out of hell, and in the last 10 seconds of that round, you're still just kicking ass. You're doing what you need to do. You're learning things. You're achieving things. You're trying to strive for a better life. You're trying to capture more of this adventure called living, because it's going to end. And face that struggle. If you're overweight and you want to lose weight, or you're not healthy because you've got bad habits and you're trying to change that, then face it, because it will end. You will eventually find yourself in a position to where you don't have to worry about it anymore, because it's habit. But that struggle, that terrible thing you face to achieve your dreams or to achieve your goals, it will end. Just like life. It ends. You will be through it. I remember when I first started working concrete. So here's a little story for you, a little history on me. So we got married when she was 16. I was 18. My dad was a union operator. He was a heavy equipment operator. And so he suggested that I join the union, which I did. So I got in the labor's union, and I was traveling around the country working with my dad. Well, we hit a winter and we were struggling. Money was really tight. And so I had instructed my wife that if anyone calls, or if the union hall calls and asks if I know how to do something as a laborer, just tell them, yes, I'll figure it out. And I think I was about 20 at the time. So the union hall out of Craig, Colorado, which happens to be about 50 miles up the road from where I am now, they called and they needed a concrete laborer. Well, I didn't know a damn thing about concrete. Up until that point, the 2 years prior working in the labor's union, I had worked on pipeline projects and heavy highways, so flagging and helping surveyors with grade stakes and stuff like that. I'd never poured concrete a day in my life, didn't know anything about it, but I jumped in it. And I remember the first couple weeks of working concrete, I am thinking, how in the hell do you do this? I mean, I don't know if you've ever done concrete, but it's like this immovable thing when you first start out. You stick your shovel in it to move it, and it is just hard work from the time you start till the time you finish. And it's just a mess, and it's dirty. And I remember sitting there at lunchtime exhausted in those first few days, and just choking down a sandwich and guzzling down sodas in the shade, and just thinking to myself, how in the hell am I going to do this? Oh my God. Because back then I'm not a big guy now, but back then I probably weighed 120 pounds. I was a little skinny dude. And I'm trying to figure out how I can do this. And I remember the last day of work before I actually jumped out of construction. I was working for a concrete company out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I remember that last day we had a big ass pour, and we're just pouring this stiff mud. It's almost like, it's a slump. It's really thick, not a lot of water, because we were pouring a slope. And I didn't even give it two thoughts. I didn't even give a thought to the fact that I'd been working, shoveling concrete all day long. Didn't even give it a thought, because eventually what happens is we learn to adapt, and that struggle that we face just becomes our new life. It just becomes our new way of life. I guess the reason I'm sharing this with you is because, I'm talking about changing your life. I'm giving you ideas, and I'm throwing stuff out there that most people have never heard of before, and most people will not accept. That's just the truth. Most people will say, he's crazy. Not everybody. I don't want to live in a damn trailer house. No, I don't want you to live in a trailer house. But in order for you to start capturing more of your life, especially if you've been impacted by COVID-19, the last thing you want to do is to end up back in the same pit that you're in now. The reason most of us are struggling is not necessarily because of COVID itself. It's because COVID put us in a position where we were vulnerable. Financially, we cannot continue to spend every penny we make. There has to be a point when you have some fallback. Because I don't know if you've noticed, the rich people don't give two shits about whether you're eating or not. It's your neighbors and your friends who happen to be fortunate enough to be able to sustain their lives throughout their donating money and their time and food and make an effort to help those of us who've been hit the hardest by this. And the reality is this will end, but the question is, what does your life look like beyond that? Now, if you're if you're buying off on what I'm telling you about living your best life, I think one of the first things that we probably should do is we should reconsider how we format our life. If you happen to lose everything you own, granted it's sad and you've got a lot of time invested, but it might actually turn out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you. Because in this situation, life handed you the ending of that life you created. It ended. It ended. Now, if you want to go back in and recreate it, you can. But what you're also recreating is the opportunity for you to face this entire thing again. See, because it's the debt and being overextended and that insatiable desire to acquire. We have this insatiable desire. Have you ever noticed that no matter what you want or no matter what you have, there's always something else you want? I call that the hunter-gatherer syndrome. And I've thought about it a lot and I've talked about it a lot. But so we are geared towards hunter-gatherers. We are designed to wake up every morning and go forage. And while our environment has changed and we're not worried about getting eaten by some saber-toothed tiger or getting squashed by a mammoth or something like that, the reality is that it's become so easy for us to acquire that what we do now is we actually acquire stuff. Go out every day and we're hunter-gatherers, but instead of using a knife to kill our prey, we just go in the grocery store and we grab stuff we don't need. You know, I've been struggling. I actually had to break the habit. Every time we'd go in a convenience store or we'd fuel up, especially when I was traveling, I would grab a soda and some seeds and a couple candy bars. And when I got to looking at the impact that had on my life, that sodium kills me. And of course, the calories being 58, if you're not as old as I am, you're going to learn that as you get older, your metabolism slows down and you can't be feeding it like you used to when you were 20. So, but, you know, it comes down to the choices we make, and the burden we are in right now is because COVID-19 caught us off guard. We didn't expect to have enough money to cover our expenses for the next 2 months or 3 months. Well, that life is over. If you're sitting in a situation where you're looking at everything going away, and it's possible, we don't know what this economy is going to do. But even if it didn't, that legacy, the life we lived before COVID-19 is gone. It'll be a completely new life, a completely different dynamic, and that life ended. The question that I would be asking myself, and I do because I'm capturing the opportunities that I have every day, but what's your life look like now? And what's it going to look like in the future? Because this is a new start. Even if you didn't get hit hard, this is a new start for you to take a look at what's important to you, what you value, what you love. And it's an opportunity for you to grab a hold of a struggle that takes you on a new path, that allows you to access the things you love. I have no fault with hard work. I work hard every day. But everything I work hard at is the stuff I love to do, or the stuff that I am inspired to do because of the goals I've set for myself. That bike ride's going to suck today. The workout's going to suck today. But you know what? It gives me the opportunity, or it enhances my opportunities in the future, because let's say I do live until I'm 90. Kind of be cool to live until I'm 90 and be able to walk on my own, or to be able to drive a car at 90, or just to be in good, strong physical shape at 90 and then just have a plane or a meteor hit me. That'd be the coolest way to go. But it's going to end. This is your opportunity to make the best of it. That life that we had before COVID-19, before this crap hit us all, even if you were living a great life, there's always the opportunity to live an even better life. And it just comes down to sitting down and accepting that it's ended and it's time for something new. And build it around who you are. I mean, what the hell? It's not your fault you lost everything, so why not start over and build it around who you are? Maybe the idea of living in a small house isn't such a bad idea if you have the money to go fishing or to go hiking or to go do whatever you love to do. See, within every tragedy, there's opportunity. And while tragedy often ends a segment of our life, like when my dad died, it presented us an opportunity. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for the fact that I'd lost my father. I'd still be grumping around, rocking around, all pissed off at people and things for no reason except for I couldn't see another way to do it. So, Anyway, I could go on about this, but just, I'm just trying to remind you that, first of all, you are strong enough, as I said in the previous podcast, and you have the ability to do whatever you do. And I think the biggest tragedy any of us could face would be the fact that if we are facing a struggle now, or even if we're not, that we move forward after COVID-19 and we allow ourselves to try and replicate the lives that we lived pre-COVID-19. Because obviously for a lot of us, for what is it, what they say, 43 million people are out of work right now because they got caught. And that means that a portion of those people, and if you're included in that, I feel for you. I mean, I have a mountain of empathy for you because it's tough. The last thing we want to do is to repeat it. The last thing we want to do is to go back into that consumerist attitude where we buy to buy. We acquire to our desire to acquire drives our needs, and we don't actually spend the time to ask ourselves a simple question: does this choice give me my best life, or does this choice direct me towards my best life? I don't know. For me, I wake up every day excited. Sometimes I'm really excited, other days I'm not. But I'm going to do something every day to improve my life. And me doing this is about me giving, because I've discovered something from watching other people and people who have actually accomplished amazing things in their life. It all started with giving. I won't ask you for anything. I'm working on my book. This is motivation for me to keep going on that. Because like you, my life will eventually end. And I'm just going to grab a hold of every bit of it I can and do the best I can at it. And hopefully when I lay my head down for that final time, I'll be able to say, damn right, I lived my best life. Hopefully you'll be able to do the same, huh? So, until next time, just remember, my name's Chris Jaquez, and today is your day. Make it a good one.